subject that was decided upon is Bechira Chavshis, free will, which is an enormous subject. One could easily spend years on the ramifications of the subject. I want to share with you two ideas, two central ideas, and discuss them to the extent that the time allows. The Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva Perikei Halacha Dalet explains the reason why Bechira is so important, why it's a central concept without which the Torah can't operate. Ilu if God would decree that a person should be righteous or wicked, or if there was something in a person's creation, in his given original nature, and of course for us that means not only the guf, it means the neshama also, the body and the soul. If it's something would pull him to one idea, belief, character trait, or action rather than another, there are fools who gaze into the heavens and who imagine these ideas. How would it be conceivable that Kosh Baruch Hu should command us through his prophets, do this and don't do that? Don't improve your ways, don't go after your evil side. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu had decreed that he's going to go in one way or the other, or there's something in his makeup that draws him, and those are two different ideas, to one side or the other, then a command would be superfluous. You're saying to a person, don't steal, when it's already decreed or built into his nature that he has to steal. So then the command is absurd. Furthermore, not only would commands be ridiculous, but what about consequences? Why, what right, by what justice would God, now he says, punish the wicked or reward the righteous? It's very interesting that the Rambam puts punishing the wicked first and rewarding the righteous second. And I think there's a moral idea here. If a person has no free will, if he can't decide for himself what he's going to do, to punish him for what he does wrong is absolutely unjust. He quotes the Paysach from Avram Avinu, shall the judge of all the earth not do justice? If someone doesn't earn reward, he doesn't behave well, doesn't perform well, and you give him something good, there's nothing immoral in that. There's no immorality in giving someone a gift. Nothing unjust in giving something someone he didn't earn. But it's not schar. It's not reward. It's not wages. You don't owe it to him. You're not paying him for his time. You're giving him a gift. So there, the Rambam puts it second. If you punish somebody who has no free will, that's absolutely unjust. It's unthinkable. If you give something good to someone who didn't earn it, that's a gift. Nothing wrong with that. But you can't call it schar. You can't call it something that he's earned, reward or wages for his actions. That you cannot call it. And the Torah promises both onish for rishoim and schar for tzaddikim. People who earn it will get schar, reward. So therefore, not only are the commandments absurd if a person has no free will, but the idea of consequences in terms of punishment and reward also are absurd. Now, the Rambam asks a question. This is the Mishnah Torah. A lot of machshava in the Mishnah Torah. How could a person will ask, how can it be that a person does whatever he wishes, and his actions are in his own hand? Can a person do something that his creator doesn't want him to do? The verse says, everything that God wants, God did in the heavens and the earth. Are we going to say that because we have free will, we can do something that God doesn't want? Isn't God in control of everything? Doesn't everything happen because God wants it to happen? Da, says the Rambam, you should know, shahakol kechefzo yaseh. Everything that happens according to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's desire, what he wants to happen. V'afalpi shema'aseinu mesurim lonu. And yet, our actions are up to us. We are the ones who control our actions. There's no contradiction between them. Ketzad. Kishem she'ayotzer chofetz liyosa eish v'haruach olim lamala. Amayim va'oretz yordin lamata. Fire and air go against gravity and rise. Water and earth, stones, fall. Why do they do that? They do that because the Kodesh Baruch Hu put a teva, he put a nature into them, that the fire and the air should rise spontaneously, and the water and the earth should fall. That's another matter which I'm going to into. All the creatures of the world are created with a nature which leads them to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants them to do. They do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants them to do when the trees bud and the birds sing and the mosquitoes buzz and bite you and all the rest. That's all because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants them to do that. Kacha chofetz liyos ha'adam reshuso biyodo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the person to have control over his actions. That's what he wants. So when a human being is exercising free will, that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants him to be doing. He wants him to be acting freely. Therefore, don't say that because I can do what I want, therefore I'm able to do what he doesn't want. He wants me to be acting freely, and I'm acting freely just as he wants me to act. He doesn't want anything to force him and to drag him to one side or the other. And then he says, therefore he can be judged for his actions because he chose the actions that he does. Okay, then what are we supposed to say about the case where Reuven eats a cheeseburger? What's that? When Reuven, I used the Jewish name because I'm talking about a Jew, eats a cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. That's something that's treif. It's not a kosher food. Cheeseburger. What am I supposed to say about his doing that? Let's make it into a little more elaborate steer. We're being told a human being can't do against what the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants. So now, when Reuven eats the cheeseburger, what does the Kodesh Baruch Hu want? Does he want him to eat the cheeseburger? Then why did he command us not to eat cheeseburgers? So he can't want that he should eat it. But then if he wants him not to eat it, how does he get away with eating it since the Kodesh Baruch Hu is running the world and only what happens in the world is what the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to happen in the world? It sounds like an absolute steer. The Rambam says it's not a steer. I don't have to say the Rambam's right. I learned from the Rambam. But there's a way to explain why it's not a steer. What you have to do is separate two different questions. Often, when you're thinking through a problem, you put two ideas together and you treat them as if they're the same question, the same idea, and then you get contradictions in the way you handle it. And the solution is to distinguish two different questions and see that each one gets its answer and each one gets a consistent answer. One question is this: what does the Kodesh Baruch Hu want Reuven to freely choose? What does he want him to choose? That's one question. The second, different question is, after he's made the bad choice, what does he want him to do? Those are two separate questions. The first question is about what you should choose. The second question builds in that the choice has already been made. So what the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants him to choose isn't relevant anymore. The choice has already been made. Now we want to know what the Kodesh Baruch Hu want to happen after he's made the bad choice. Now the two answers come out very clearly. What does he want him to choose? He wants him to choose to keep kosher. That's why he gave us the mitzvah of kashrus. The mitzvah of kashrus is supposed to tell us what we should choose to do. It's how we should use our free will. But having already made the bad choice, having chosen to eat treif, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the person to have the ability to carry it out and do the wrong thing. And there's no steerer there. One is what he wants him to choose, and the other is what he wants him to do, or be able to do after he chooses. And this is not now hashkafa elyona. Every parent knows this. You buy a child a bicycle, and you say to the child, it's dangerous, it has various speeds, you don't know how to ride it, leave it till I come home. Now, can you guarantee that he will leave it alone till you come home? Of course you can. You can lock it up, can't you? No, but you're not going to do that. You're going to leave it out in plain sight. He can get it if you want to tell him. I'm telling you, don't use it. It's dangerous. You might hurt yourself. Now, he's not going to die. If he falls off, it'll skin his knee. You're not risking serious injury here. And now you leave it for him because you want him to face a moral challenge. You want him to learn to control himself. Now, there are two possible outcomes. You, the father, want him to have the ability to take the bike if he so chooses. What are you hoping? You're hoping he will choose to leave it alone. You're hoping that he has, it will reinforce his self-control, that he will do what you told him to and leave it alone. That's what you're hoping. But also, if he decides wrongly, you want him to be able to take it. To take it, to try to ride it, to fall off, to skin his knee, to learn that his father's pretty smart. His father knows the danger. His father wasn't lying. His father wasn't exaggerating. And he'll come to learn that he should trust his father and should do what his father wants. So you too have this split mentality. You want him to be able to take it if he chooses to take it, doing the wrong thing. And then, but you want him. You want him to be able to, but you'd like him not to. You prefer that he not to. But if he takes it, you want him to be able to use it. Kadosh Baruch Hu has the same split in his picture for us. I'm giving you free will. I'm telling you what I want you to choose, but I want you to be able, if you choose the wrong thing, to be able to carry it out. That's how you grow in responsibility. That's how you grow in maturity. So there's no question whatsoever that when the person eats the cheeseburger, he's doing what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. But you have to define what that means. What does he want? He wants, having made the wrong choice, he wants you to be able to carry it out. So when you carry it out, you're also doing Masha Chafetz, what he wants. In this, what I just told you is the obvious point, but it needs to be brought out. Obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't force you to choose freely. That's a stira minei obey. If he forces you not to choose freely, if he wants us to have free will, then there have to be things that he's chafetz, only chafetz that we should choose freely. If he had an absolute ratzon that we should do, then we'd be squirrels or malachim. And we wouldn't have credit for what we do, and we couldn't be judged for what we do, couldn't be given commandments, there couldn't be reward and punishment, or punishment and reward in the Rambam's order. And that's why he says that we're not doing anything above and beyond what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do. There's a famous Ohr Chaim, which many people talk about, many people think about, which is a way of carrying out this subject. Yosef comes to the brothers, and they say, let's kill him. Hine ba'al chalamos alezebo, this dreamer is coming, yato l'chun na'gehu, let's kill him, v'nashlichehu ba'achad haboros, we'll throw him into one of the pits, v'amarnu chaya roa aschalaso, we'll say a wild beast devoured him, v'nireh ma'yu chalamosav, we'll see what will come of his dreams. Vayishma Ruvain ba'tzilehu miyad. Ruvain hears them speaking, hears their plot, and he saves Yosef from them, from their hands. Vayomer, Ruvain says, Lo nakenu nofesh. We shall not kill him. Vayomer Elohem, whenever the Vayomer repeats, whenever it says the same speaker and says it speaks twice, it means there's a pause. There's a pause, it's waiting for a reaction, and then it's a second speech. It's not a run-on sentence. He said to them, we'll not kill him. And they said, we disagree. We've decided to kill him, and we're going to kill him. So then he, so to speak, backs up for a secondary strategy. Don't spill the blood yourself. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness. And don't you put your hand on him. Why is Ruvain saying this? Why is he telling them to throw him into the bore? The Torah testifies, in order to save him, to bring him back to his father. Don't think that Reuven's thought is, don't dirty your hands with the dam, let the wild animals take care of it and he'll die anyway. No, Reuven's kavanah, his purpose is to save Yosef's life. Well, but Chazal tell us that the pits were filled with nachashim v'akrabim, poisonous types of creatures. So Reuven's taina to them is this: he's going to die anyway. So why should you spill the blood? Don't you spill the blood? But that's not his kavanah. His kavanah is to save his life. So the Ohr Chaim asks, how is Reuven saving Yosef's life? Perush. Lepisha Adam Baal Bechira. A human being has free will. V'rotzon. And he has Bechira and Rotzon. V'yochol laharog mi shelo nischayev misa. He can kill someone upon whom there has been no gzeira that he should die. Not chayev to die. Mashe ein kein chayos rose. Animals can't do that. Lo yifku ba'adam ela im lo yischayev misa l'shamayim. An animal will not kill a person unless that person, the Torah, the Shamayim has decided he should die. There must have been a din against him and said they had to die. So if he's killed by a lion or a snake, that means there was a din in Shamayim that he had to die. But if a person kills him, it's not true. It's not true. There doesn't have to be a din in Shamayim that should die. V'hu amrov atzilehu miyadam, Ohr Chaim says. That's why the Torah says he saved Yosef from their hand. Perish miyad bechiri, from the hand of someone who has free will. Ubezes sasar omro v'niramai yuchalamosov. And in this way, he's contradicting what they said. What did they say? They said, we'll kill him, and that way we'll see what will become of his dreams. In other words, he dreamt a future for himself, that he would be a ruler over them. We'll kill him, and we'll show that his dreams are not true. Says the Ohr Chaim, they made a fundamental mistake. That's not a true test. If they succeed in killing him, it's not a true test. Ki ha-bechira mavatal hadover. Because mechira, person with free will, can kill someone against whom there wasn't a din in Shamayim. And they don't know that. They're doing what was done in America 300 years ago in the colonies, where they had something called trial by ordeal. A person is accused of a crime, and there aren't witnesses that can convict him. So here's what they used to do. They used to take like a seesaw out to a deep part of a lake and put him in a chair and tie him up and hold him underwater for 20 minutes or a half hour. Now, their thought was, if he's innocent, God won't let him die. So he'll come out alive. And if he's guilty, then he'll die. Guess what? They never made any mistakes. They were all guilty. Because they never came out alive. Right? What a wonderful judicial record. No mistakes at all. Right? Says the Ohr Chaim, 400 years ago, fools. Free will can cause someone to die even though there isn't a din against him in a Shamayim. So, Reuven said, if they kill him, they may be able to kill him even if he's innocent. If he goes into the bore and he comes out alive, that's a proof that he's not guilty. And if he dies, it'll be a proof that he's guilty. There'll be a proof. And I'm sure, says Reuven, that he's not going to die because he's not guilty. But they want to prove it by killing with their hands, be Adam. That's not a proof. That's the Ohr Chaim says. Now, twice he said that with free will, you can kill someone even though there's no gzeira, no decree that he should die from heaven. That he's not chayiv, he's not judged to be guilty to die from heaven. So doesn't this sound exactly what the Rambam raised? That how can you do something against what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? It's not possible. And the same solution that I explained to you in the Rambam works here as well. It's the same solution. And it's late afternoon of Tanis, so I don't expect you to be perfectly mentally alert, but if it doesn't jump to your mind how it works, it shows that the yesod needs to be going over, so you can see how to apply it in other cases as well. Here too, we have two different questions that are being run together as if they're the same, and when you pull them apart, you'll see each question gets its own answer, and the situation is perfectly consistent. One question is this: what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want to happen to Yosef in the bore, in the pit? What does he want? For Yosef in the bore. Now, Yosef is innocent. He doesn't deserve to die. And therefore, he'll save him in the pit, supernaturally, from the snakes and scorpions, because he doesn't want him to die. Now, what does the Kodesh Baruch Hu want to happen to Yosef? What does the Kodesh Baruch Hu want to happen to Yosef if the brothers attack him and try to kill him? That's a different question. That's a different question. That question is, how strong is Bechira? How strong is Yosef's merit? And how do they weigh up? This isn't the question whether I should stop snakes and scorpions. This is a question whether I should stop people. It's not the same question. And there, the answer may very well be that Yosef's schus, his merit, isn't great enough to contradict the power of free will. So the failure, when you think about it, is what happens to Yosef depends upon only one thing. It depends upon Yosef. Does he deserve to live, or does he deserve to die? If he doesn't deserve to die, nothing can touch him. If he deserves to die, then he'll die no matter what. That's wrong. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants free will to operate, and he wants it so strongly to operate that sometimes, when he himself, from the point of view of his own life, his own actions, disconnected from free will, should live, when he comes up against free will, then what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants for him when confronting free will is that he should die. And there's no stira whatsoever. I heard from Rav Yaakov Weinberg, Zichrono Bracha, Rosh Yeshiva of Ner Yisrael, a wonderful hesber of this, and now I found it in certain achronim who write on the Ohr Chaim, Rav Avram Gurevitz in England, and Rav Yaakov Hillel here, and others. You have to distinguish between a judgment that's made by Bechinas Hadin and Bechinas Harachmim, from strict justice and from mercy. If a person is living on mercy, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, you haven't earned the right to live. You do things that are wrong. You fail me. You rebel against me. If I ask in terms of strict justice, you have no life. But I'm Rachamim. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the meter of Rachamim, of mercy. And because of mercy, then you're living. And then this person comes up against someone else's Bechira. Bechira is more important, more valuable than mercy to keep someone alive. So, when this person who's living on mercy comes up against a murderer, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, the murderer is using his free will, this person is only living on mercy, then he's going to die. If the murderer wouldn't attack him, he would live. I give him mercy, but I don't give him mercy against free will. But, if the potential victim has earned the right to live on the basis of strict justice, he's such an outstanding tzaddik that even free will won't touch him. There are times when the Kodesh Baruch Hu will restrain free will hold free will back, but only for a person who's earned it on the level of strict justice. And this was Reuven's suffix. I don't know where Yosef stands. If he's earned the right to live on the basis of strict justice, nothing can touch him. The brothers can't touch him either, and he's invulnerable. Then Reuven doesn't have to do anything. He'll live either way. If he hasn't earned the right to mercy, if Kodesh Baruch Hu has given up on him because he's a criminal, such a criminal that doesn't deserve even mercy, Reuven doesn't have to do anything because he's going to die either way. Under those two conditions, Reuven's doing nothing. He's accomplishing nothing. But there's a possibility that he's in between, that in terms of midas hadin, strict justice, he doesn't deserve. And in terms of mercy, he does deserve to have mercy. Under those conditions, Reuven saved his life. That's what the Ohr Chaim is teaching us. And by the way, this is based explicitly on a Zohar that says exactly the same thing. And there are many other sources that agree. Some of you know, in the Bris Ben Besorim, Kodesh Baruch Hu says to Avram Avinu, you're going to be strangers, you're going to be enslaved. V'gam es hagoy she'evodu dan anochi, and the nation that they serve, I'm going to judge also. And dan, the word dan, is not the way we translate it. I'll evaluate them or judge them. It means to punish. Dan is in Tanakh and certainly in other Sfarim is always negative. It means they're going to be punished. So the question is raised: if Kodesh Baruch Hu decreed that we should be in Golos, why should the people who put us in Golos and enslave us be judged and punished? There are many answers to that question, but one of the answers the Ramban gives is they added to the Glaser. The Glaser says that you'll be poor, downtrodden, and enslaved. It doesn't say that your male children will be drowned in the river. That it doesn't say. And they added that. And because they added it, they can be punished. The critic says here, what do you mean? They added? What do you mean they added? More than what God decreed? How could they add more than what God decreed? Answer, because with free will, you can do that. You're able to do that. Rashi and Chulin, the Gemara says, Machshefa is a Rashi Tevos, it's Tarikon, which stands for Makhishim Pamal Shel Mala. Machshefa, which is someone who does things that are beyond the normal nature that we know. Sometimes they translate it as witches and the Gemara says they contradict the heavenly host. And Rashi on the spot says they can kill someone, Shelo Nigzer Alav Misa Min HaShamayim. There was no decree from heaven that he should die, and they can kill him. And the same critic says, but what do you mean? How could you do anything that Kodesh Baruch Hu didn't decree? Answer, on this person there was no decree of death. If the witches will leave him alone, he won't die. Kodesh Baruch Hu isn't going to engineer he should die now because he's run out of life. But if he comes up against someone else's free will, then that free will can take over. It's more important than his life because he's living on racham, he's living on mercy. The Tziv says the same thing. But Dessler says that he's answering the same question. How could it be? Everything happens because of a decree from heaven. So he says, sometimes the decree from heaven on Ruvain is that Ruvain should be a tool or a vehicle for Shimon's free will. That's the decree. Yes, everything happens according to a decree. The decree is not he should live. The decree is not he should die. The decree is Shimon should work out his free will on you, and whatever he chooses to do is what should happen to you. That's also a decree. And that's very reminiscent of what the Rambam wrote, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to exercise free will. When we exercise free will, that we're doing what he wants, even if we use our free will to do something which he commands us not to do and prefer not to do, but he commands and prefers that we do what we do with free will. And afterwards, the consequences will come. Now, this idea has a very bitter consequence. It's very common. It's very common to hear, dealing with a tragedy, someone dies, to say, he must have finished his task in this world, he was a great tzaddik, and he left the world because Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted him to leave, and the thought is expressed as if Kodesh Baruch Hu looks at this person, Ruvain, how was his life, what did he do, did he get a chance to finish everything, is he a good person, and then decides whether he should live or die, and the criminal pulled the trigger is a non-entity. It's a non-entity. It's just a question of whether Reuven should die or Reuven shouldn't die. What we're seeing is that's not correct. The test will be this. If A kills B, can you say with confidence that if A at the last minute had decided not to, no, I'm not going to do it, I don't want to be a criminal, and decided not to, would B have been struck by lightning? Are we guaranteed that B would have been struck by lightning? Because God decided that his life is over? The answer is no. You cannot say that. If he's attacked by a wild animal, if he's killed in an automobile accident, if he's killed where no one tried to kill him, no one used free will to try to kill him, then you can say it. Then of course Baruch Hu said his life had to end. But if it's a question of dying through the activity of free will, I have to know that free will can change the outcome. If you ask, but then he lost his chance, he was only living on mercy. And mercy can extend to him by giving him another chance. Through Gilgul and Shamos, he can get another chance. But in the bottom line, when you know that you're up against free will has that power to change the outcome that otherwise would have happened. This should give us a sense of responsibility for the enormous power that we have because we have free will, and with power goes responsibility and ultimately achrayus for being judged as to how we use it.